Now we will see how to design the program for resistance training. So if there's a person who is a complete beginner, this person has never ever exercised before. What we do is we use a circuit, and generally we use machine based exercises. But if you don't have access to machines is when you opt for dumbbells and barbells. But if you can, in the beginning, if you can use machines, it's really great because it gives you an access to work on, and you will not generally go wrong. So here I have chosen about 11 different exercises. Like we have machine chest press. Let me make this a little bigger. So we have machine chest press, lat pull down, shoulder press, shrugs, like that. We've got these exercises. So here's what we can do. We can probably take about 5 exercises to begin with. And let's say the very first day, we just give one set of each of these exercises. Maybe I'll make them do machine chest press, then lat pull down, then shoulder press, shrugs, leg press. Each one with one set, about say 10 to 15 repetitions. And what we could do is when they come the second time, maybe they did this on the first day, the next day they don't do resistance training, they come back on the third day, on the day 3, we can add another exercise. Instead of 5 exercises, maybe we can give them 6 exercises. Maybe when they come back on the fifth day, we add another exercise. So what we can keep on doing is just to keep adding one exercise per session. So by about 2 weeks, what's going to happen is they are in a position to do about 10, 11 exercises continuously with only one set. So as you can see, every session there is some kind of progression that is happening. Now, what can happen is in the initial stages, it'll be a great idea if we can have multiple different circuits like this because they get to learn different angles very well. So, whatever we've done now, these 10, 11 exercises, we'll call it circuit number 1 here. We'll call it circuit number 1. Similarly, it'll be great if we can do a circuit number 2. So, in order to do this circuit number 2, here's what we are going to do. We are going to keep circuit number 1 as it is, but this time when you're exercising, only the first 2 exercises are going to be changed. So we were doing machine chest press, but instead we are doing pec fly. We were doing lat pull down, but instead we are doing seated row. And the next session is going to be exactly what we were doing for circuit number 1. So this changed exercises, we are calling it circuit number 2. But whatever we are doing here is circuit number 1 very clearly. This is what I've shown you in blue is circuit number 1. Again, when I come to circuit number 2, the first 4 exercises I will change, right? So pec fly seated row I had changed previously, but now what I'm doing is I'm also changing. Instead of shoulder press, I'm doing side lateral raise. Instead of shrugs, I'm doing upright row. So if I continue doing this, meaning again the alternate day is going to be circuit number 1. Then when I come back, when I do the circuit number 2, maybe I will change the first 6 exercises. If I keep continuing like this, you will see that I end up with a completely different exercise circuit number 1 and a completely different exercise circuit number 2. Now this is the idea for a beginner workout where constantly we are adding new exercises. We are constantly working towards making it a little more tougher. Like, so once your client is able to do say circuit number 1 on one particular day, different set of exercises, and circuit number 2 on another day with different set of exercises, next what we do is we start changing the exercises where the first two exercises we can make it 2 sets. Rest of them can be 1 set. Going forward, what we can do is we can change the first 4 exercises to 2 sets. Like that, we can keep on making more and more number of exercises into 2 sets. So finally, we'll end up with all 2 sets, right? Everything will become 2 sets. So as you can see, with every passing day, we are adding a progression. So this is what we do for a beginner. So what I've shown you is how do you design progression for a complete beginner? Now, there are some individuals who come specifically asking for your strength exercises. So, what is strength? Strength is your ability to lift maximum load, and the test for this is one repetition maximum. But obviously, for strength, the test is one repetition maximum, but the rep range is going to be anywhere between 1 to 8 repetitions. That means because the repetitions are lesser, 1 to 8, the weight is going to be fairly larger. Also, between each set, the recovery time is longer, anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes. And you should remember, for strength, in order to increase strength, we have five main exercises, which is squats, bench press, rows, shoulder presses, and deadlift. These are your staple exercises, the main exercises, the main compound exercises that you do. And why we are choosing these exercises is because we are using the entire body here. We are using a lot of joints and muscles. That's the reason why we are doing it. And these are very functional also. So here's what we are going to do. One of the most popular program out there is 3 sets of 5 repetition. So the exercises more or less remain constant. The sets and repetition more or less remain constant. But what changes is the weight. Here as an example, I'm showing you like squat. If you had done 54 kgs, maybe the next week I can go to 55 kgs. The next week I can go to 56 kgs. So I try to keep on increasing this load, which is the main criteria for strength. I can do these 5 exercises and I can add any other exercise to this. Like for example, if I feel my lower back is weak, maybe I can add a hyperextension also, or maybe a good morning or something like that. But these five main exercises needs to be done. So remember, the exercises are more or less constant, set and repetitions are more or less constant, but what changes is the load. And every week on week, we are going to increase the load. That's how the strength training works. Now, this is just in the nutshell. It is far more complicated when you actually get down to the program design of it. A lot of variables can happen, but the skeleton for the strength program design is like this. Next, we will look at muscular endurance program design. So, when we are talking about the muscular endurance program, we are the muscular endurance means your ability to perform many repetitions continuously. And so, can I do it endlessly? No, that becomes cardio. So, here we are talking about doing many repetitions, but those repetitions will not go beyond 2 to 3 minutes. Why not? Because we develop lactic acid and it gives us a burn and makes us stop. So, those kind of exercises which you do many repetition 12, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, but where we don't go beyond, we are not in a position to go beyond 2 3 minutes. Such exercises are called muscular endurance exercises. Most often, the body weight exercises feature into this, but it doesn't have to be body weight exercises. It can be weighted exercises as well. So normally, what you do in your fitness center, where you do 12 repetition, 15 repetition, 20 repetition with weights, even that would be counted as muscular endurance exercises. So what is the rep range? Clearly beyond 12 repetition. So anything that you can do beyond 12 repetition would be counted as muscular endurance. So here as an example, only as an example, I have chosen body weight exercises, but I told you you can do weighted exercises also for this. So if you look at it, I have chosen push up, pull up, squat, lunge, mountain climber, burpee, something like that. So 8 exercises I've chosen. So what are we doing? In the muscular endurance, generally the way we do it is we don't do multiple sets of the same exercise. Like we don't do push up and then wait for say a minute and then do push up again. Normally we don't do that. Can be done, but we normally don't do it. We go in a cyclical fashion. So here's what we are going to do. We are going to go in this fashion, meaning we are going to start with push-ups first, then we are going to go to pull-ups, then squats, then lunges. We go in this particular fashion. We do it like that. Okay. And what is the progression for this? And remember, the recovery time is very less, anywhere between 30 to 45 seconds for this. What is the progression for this? The progression is you can increase the number of cycles. You are doing only one circuit, maybe you can add another circuit by adding two more exercises like that. Or you can add more number of exercises here. You can, you can keep on adding more number of you are doing 8 exercises now, you can add more number of exercises. Or what you could possibly do is you can increase the repetitions. You can increase the repetitions here. So these are all the different ways in which you can play around with the muscular endurance exercises. Now, the last one is the hypertrophy. In hypertrophy, there are a few things we have to keep in mind. First thing, the golden zone for hypertrophy is 8 to 12. However, hypertrophy can happen lesser than 8 also, beyond 12 also. But more realistically, it's around here. For hypertrophy, we need to isolate the muscle, meaning we take a particular muscle or a group of muscles and we do a lot of exercises for those muscles. Like maybe today we work out only on chest and back, or maybe one day we exercise only the shoulders or only the chest. So that happens in hypertrophy. So we need to isolate it. And the volume is fairly large in these type of exercises. The volume is quite high. Meaning, what is the meaning of volume? Sets multiplied by repetition multiplied by the weight. So this is quite large. Also, we load the muscle for a long time. So time under tension is high, meaning you also tend to do it a little slowly and continuously you do it for about 10-12 repetitions, right? And for a particular muscle. So the time under tension is high. The fourth important thing is to shock the muscle. How do we shock the muscle? We have to change the training principles. How do we change the training principle? Here, as an example, I have chosen chest and bicep. See, we are doing chest press, fly, pullover, which are mostly chest based exercises. We are doing bicep curl and hammer curl, which are bicep exercises. So what we could do is the first week we can go with 3 sets of 10 repetition, meaning we do chest press first set with 10 repetition, second set with 10 repetition, third set with 10 repetition. The very next week, maybe I will change the training principle. The first exercise I will go with 12 repetition, next exercise I will go with 10 repetition, third exercise I will go with 8 repetition, meaning the very first exercise, because I'm able to do 12 repetition, the weight is slightly lower. The next exercise weight is increased a little bit so that I can only do 10 repetition. Third exercise, the weight is increased even more, so it becomes 8 repetition. The very next week, I can change the complete pattern. I can go with something called as reverse pyramid, where the first exercise is the heaviest. So I'm doing 8 repetition. The next exercise is 10 repetition. Third exercise is 12 repetition. I can also do something called a superset. In superset, what happens? I use a chest exercise. I couple it with a bicep exercise. Like for example, I do chest press. Immediately, I go and do a bicep curl. This is called a superset. And then I recover for about, say, a minute and a half. Again, I go for the second set. I will do this chest press followed by bicep curl. So this is called superset. There's something called as compound set, where I mix two exercises of the same muscle group. I do a chest press. Immediately, I go and do the flies. That's called a compound set. Or I can do something called as an eccentric or negative training, where I take a heavy load. My training partner will lift and give me the weight, and I will just try, I'll come down very slowly with that. That's another way of doing it. So basically, I need to shock the muscle in order to get the maximum response of it, and which frequently changes. So this is the whole idea of hypertrophy training, and hypertrophy means enlargement of the muscle, and this is generally used by bodybuilders.